No one's arguing about Jeffrey Epstein's perverted interest, a sexual interest. Someone's arguing that. However, Nick Fuentes is going to explain why actually that's not pedophilia. Take a listen.
This whole pedo thing, it's like, is it really pedophilia? I don't want to be the one that has to say it, but I guess I'm being forced to say it. It's not really pedophilia, okay? They weren't trafficking 5-year-olds. It was like they were technically not legal. Big difference, in my opinion. I know that's a controversial take, but that's not really the issue there, okay? The issue is not that they were barely legal teens, which is what it is. It's horrendous. It's awful. It's pedophilia. Okay, relax. No, the issue is that Epstein is a Jewish spy probably working with Israel. That's the dilemma there. He's working with Israeli intelligence.
Honestly, this is a time where it is appropriate to say this.
Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. Stop.
Agree. I watched clips. Just stop right there. Why? Why are we always here in society for no reason? How easy is it not to do that? Okay? Not to try to use some technicality, which, by the way, who do you think is in control of these definitions, by the way? I mean, they are changing the definition of what it means to be a girl and a boy right now. So if you can find, well, look at this definition. Technically, if the person is 11, if the person's not under 5, who cares if they're prepubescent? The point is not pedophilia. We've expanded the definition. We're constantly expanding and changing definitions to confuse people against common sense, okay? If you are sexually interested in prepubescent children, you're a pedophile. How about that? Is that easy? Thumbs up? Cool? We good? And what is just so remarkable to me, and like I said, I've been fine with him doing his thing. Obviously, he's a federal informant. It's ridiculous for people that don't understand that. It's ridiculous that people just keep following him despite the overwhelming evidence. I mean, this guy took a meeting with Dan Wilkes' partner after years of screaming about Ben Shapiro and talking about Israel. And all. He took a meeting with Defend Texas Liberty and Ferris Wilkes' partner, and pitched, one reporter got documents, was pitching to sell the data of his followers. And people were like, that's fine. He led people into a Capitol with a bullhorn and said, ignore police, storm the barriers, as if he had fed instructions. And we know for a fact he was informed the night before by Milo Yiannopoulos, that the feds were going to be, that there was some Fed trap happening. And despite that, he went with a bullhorn. He didn't just attend. He had a bullhorn and he's telling people to storm, and he doesn't get arrested. And his lawyer wants to go off record when he's asked directly about whether or not he is a federal informant. It's been so in your face and obvious. The ridiculous, I just got $250,000 in Bitcoin from France from a guy who's killed himself and published a letter 24 hours after he was dead because he set it on a timer, and it's in perfect English. And anybody who's ever been to France, French people don't speak perfect English. They are not writing a letter in English, even if they speak perfect English. It's just been so absurd that it offends my senses. It offends my sensibility that people have been following him. This is a Glee Club kid, okay? He's dramatic. I like Nick Fuentes clips, like I like watching Real Housewives clips. And this is, by the way, the problem, as I've said, that heterosexual men cannot continue to follow theater boys. This is actually an illness in our society, is that people who are playing the part of men and are actually at their core theater boys and want to go to Congress and want to have platforms and would never fight wars, they are, for whatever reason, being listened to by actual men. This was just unbelievable to me that the statement was made, and you couldn't see that it was going to end here. Of course, this is what happens. This is what happens when you elect or you decide that you're going to follow people who...
So I predict a very, very long 2026 with these two just throwing jabs at each other all year long. They stay in each other's Twitter replies, and Nick called Candace crazy for coming up with that time traveler theory with Charlie Kirk yesterday, and that she was an alien and stuff like that. So Nick roasted her for that, and Candace just hit him back, used the usual typical insult that people use towards Nick, which he's a fed, he doesn't like women, stuff like that. And interesting enough, she even put Nick in her YouTube thumbnail. So that was actually quite interesting. And like I said the other day in my previous videos, I like them both, okay? And I can't help but just enjoy this back and forth. You do see a lot of people who do like Candace, and they're actually pushing back on the fact that she's attacking his Jeffrey Epstein take, which I ain't gonna lie, it is wild. On his channel, I do say I agree with Nick a whole lot. I think the way he said that Jeffrey Epstein take was kind of wild. A lot of people were pushing back on the fact she was attacking him hard for the Jeffrey Epstein claim. However, they're also pointing out the fact that she interviewed and defended Harvey Weinstein. This is like a heavyweight matchup between two content creators that I like. I know a lot of people agree with me. I see the comments. A lot of you guys seem to like both of them as well. So he hit back immediately and had a lot of interesting things to say, let's say.
People seem to have forgotten. What happened to those Egyptian planes? I really just have one question. I'm not even going to rebut. I'm not going to refute anything she said. Whatever. Eat your heart out. I have one question for Candace Owens, and this is the only thing I care about. One question. What the hell happened to those Egyptian planes? Because we heard about the Egyptian planes every day and every night for like a month. I think she did 25 shows, 25, standing on the grave of Charlie Kirk, making up this nonsense about Egyptian planes. She said that these Egyptian military planes are following Charlie Kirk. She put together a table of everywhere that Charlie Kirk was, and every time he traveled, an Egyptian plane intersected with his plane. She put together this spreadsheet that Charlie and Erica Kirk were being tailed by these Egyptian planes. Well, maybe you didn't hear, but it was uncovered before Christmas that all of that data is completely fake. It's literally all fake. She got 66% of all the data wrong, just straight up wrong. There was a YouTuber that did the actual research. He paid thousands of dollars to get the data from the relevant sources. He put it together on his own spreadsheet, and he found that not only was most of the data wrong, but that it was extremely wrong. That in many of the cases, not only were the Egyptian planes not in the same place as Erica Kirk, they were in another continent. So it's not like the plane was 2 hours away or in the same state where you could chalk it up to an oversight. No, they were in another continent. They were on another part of the planet. This was revealed in the second week of December. It was all fake. She came out to address this on December 16th, 2025. This is 30 days ago. On December 16th, 2025, she uploaded a video and she said, I'm aware there's some problems with my data. She said, and people misunderstood it. She didn't get it wrong. People misunderstood. She said, and there was a little sleight of hand there too. She said, the Egyptian planes are following turning point faith events that sometimes Erica and Charlie were at. So now it's turning point faith. Now it's not Charlie, it's not Erica, it's them plus the organization. And she made a commitment. She said, I've been working on an incredible document, an interactive map. She said, I'm uploading it to my website this week. And it is going to show you everything about the Egyptian planes because this is a God thing. And this was placed in my lap. And we don't know, but we know that this is the center of it. This is going to blow the lid on everything. It's been 30 days. 30 days. 30 days. No interactive map. No timeline. Where's my timeline? No timeline, no incredible document on a website, nothing. Actually, I don't even think it's been mentioned since. So she did a whole show about me. And look, I am a fan. I'm a standis. I'm a standis of Candace Owens. And I, like all the other schizos,
I actually went back and looked, and I did see that, you know, Candace has not mentioned anything about Egyptian planes in weeks. So Nick thought it was a good point to bring up and didn't really defend on certain things that Candace did bring up on her show. So I find it very interesting. I don't necessarily agree that Candace Owens credibility is shot. A lot of people, she still has a great fan base. A lot of people do trust her. She's doing an investigation from the world. You're bound to run into dead ends and mistakes.
So anyway, so that's my response to her. I mean, she wanted to throw all the, you said this, you said that. It's just like a load of crap. We're not talking about all the ADL spreadsheet, the hit piece that's been created about me. Let's talk about what matters. Let's talk about what you talk about on your show, which is Egyptian planes. We're not getting into a diversion. We're not getting into some other realm where you're going to throw it all back on me. Well, you can throw it all back on me, but like in that way, let's get back to what actually matters. You said for months that Egyptian planes were following Charlie Kirk. You said you were going to release an interactive map, and then you just never followed up. Why? Where is it? Where's the accountability? Either admit you were wrong or shut the fuck up and log off forever. Seriously, because that is like the bar is on the floor in terms of journalistic integrity. You gassed everybody up. You got everybody whipped up into this paranoid schizophrenia. People are talking about maroon shirts and beekeepers and secret transgenders and trap doors and energy weapons. And this thing about Egyptian planes, you fucked up. Admit it. You got all the information wrong because you're a fucking idiot. You can't read a table because you're a low IQ idiot, and you messed it up. You staked your career on this. You hung your hat on that. That was the foundation. It became the foundation of the whole conspiracy. You fucked up. You didn't do your due diligence. You didn't run it by your white producers, who are men. You didn't run it by the Supreme Court, your husband. You messed up. You made yourself look like an ass. You destroyed your credibility. If you want to build your credibility back, fess up and admit your mistake. But you're not going to get away with it. No one's going to forget. Nobody is going to move on. You're not going to create a big diversion and pivot to attacking me or on to the next thing. 22 episodes talking about Egyptian planes. You said you knew. You said that's the proof. Tucker, your buddy, who's best friends with Kevin Spacey, said, I happen to know that for a fact. That's weird, because it's all fake. So what do you mean? You know, that's like Tucker Carlson's favorite thing. He loves to say that. I can't tell you how I know, but I know that's really. Because the emperor has no clothes. You have been caught with your hand in the cookie jar. That's all bullshit. Somebody paid $950 for the data and reassembled the table for you, and it's all fake. So where's our interactive map? I can't wait to see it, but something tells me we're 30 days out, we're never going to see it. She launched this huge attack on me today, and I replied, she said, I want to debate you on whether the world is run by satanic pedophiles like Brigitte Macron and Sigmund Freud and this, that, and Aleister Crowley. I said, I'm really more interested in the thing you've been talking about for the past 3 months, which is Egyptian planes. She didn't answer that on her show today. Would have been so easy. She just pretended like it was never even mentioned. So we need to start a daily count. 30 days overdue on the interactive map. Next update tomorrow. We're 30 days out from the interactive map. When are we going to get it? How many days? 100 days? 500 days? When are we going to get our map about the Egyptian planes? Because You know, until we get that, this is a completely unserious person who misled the entire country. She embellished and fabricated claims to blow up her show. She was like, well, what about Egypt? We was kings. I was like, Egypt isn't in sub-Saharan Africa, bro. So she came back on that. She's like, my sub-Saharan IQ. Bro, chill. She's very insecure about her intelligence, like a lot of black people and like a lot of women. She's very self-conscious about her low IQ. And look, it's okay. Fortunately for her, she race mixed with a white person, so her children have a chance at being higher IQ. That's the good news.
Yeah, so Nick was straight violating her right there, so that you're not gonna have dumb genes in your baby. But I find this very crazy. I like them both, but let me know what you guys feel. Are you guys here for the content? Do you think one is roasting the other too hard? Who's winning? Let me know. Peace.